Back, baby. He's back.
He is back. That is right. Marcus Smart made his return for a Game 5 victory. Welcome into the Nesson Digital Studios for another episode of Celtics Now. I'm Courtney Cox, and Tuesday night's game brought a lot of emotions, so let's recap some of the best moments. First and foremost, of course, Marcus Smart. His first time playing since March 11th, and when he checked into the game, the standing ovation, Marcus Smart could not get enough of the love.
Oh man, I was ecstatic. You know, I was trying to keep my adrenaline down. You know, it was skyrocketing through the roof as I figured it was.
Means a lot for our team. You know, I think I've said it early in the year that, you know, that he was kind of like the soul of our team, and we fed off his energy tonight. I felt like the crowd fed off of it, we fed off of it, and it's just good to have him back.
And that wasn't all. Terry Rozier and Just kidding. Eric Bledsoe continued to get into it on Tuesday night. Both Brad Stevens, Al Horford, and Terry himself talked about it after the game.
I just walked up to Terry and told him, "You're really important to us." So that's all I told him. And then, you know, other than that, you know, I do want him to play with a chip, and I do want him to play aggressive. We just need him on the court.
Emotions are running high. You know, Game 5, both teams are really going for it. And, you know, for our group, the biggest thing is just to, you know, focus on basketball, keep playing, and not getting caught up in all those side stuff.
What happened between you and Bledsoe out there?
He was out there just having fun. So.
From emotion to star power, we've seen it all throughout these first 5 games in the first round. One guy that stood out to us is Semi Ojeleye, who has kept Giannis Antetokounmpo to 16 points on 10 shots in Game 5, which is absurd when you look at his stats throughout the season. The Bucks address what they need to do to get the Greek Freak the ball more after the game.
When we're at our best, you know, we are attacking, but we're moving the ball, and everybody's getting it, touching it, driving it. Next guy gets it, doing the same thing. And so for him, you know, there's opportunities where he needs to give it up and get it back. But I thought, you know, for a lot of times the defense was collapsing in on him.
Al Horford also had himself a star-powered night in Game 5, 22 points and 14 rebounds, the most rebounds Horford has ever had in a playoff game as a Celtic. Everybody addressed Big Al after the win.
No, the one thing I don't want Al to do is stop being a good basketball player. So he makes the right play, and so just keep making the right play.
One thing we weren't doing the last 2 games was, you know, our bigs weren't getting out of the screens quick enough, you know, and Al did a great job tonight. You know, he's a tough matchup for a 5. He's not your typical 5. So when he's in and he's getting out those screens rolling and causing confusion, you know, it makes it a lot easier for us guards to get in the paint and find guys.
And last but certainly not least, Terry Rozier, who's been somewhat of a silent star all season long, but he's really making his presence known on the court, and the entire Celtics team knows his importance. Now let's take a look at his stat line throughout the playoffs. Rozier leads the Celtics in assists in the playoffs with 6.6, and he's 3rd on the team with points per game with 16.2.
I thought he played really well again. He was very active defensively, getting into the ball. And then I thought offensively he continues to make good plays. And I think he was probably as good as anybody we had at getting into the paint and spraying it out today.
Now it is time to bring in Nesson.com writer, Celtics expert, my friend Darren Hartwell. Darren, welcome. Exciting time right now as Celtics expert, if you will. Marcus Smart making his return on Tuesday night, Game 5. He looked pretty good. He got the garden all riled up, if you will. On the defensive end, looked amazing. What'd you see out of him? What'd you like?
Yeah, leave it to Marcus Smart. You know, go 2 for 7 from the field with 5 turnovers and still make the impact that he did. I mean, you can just tell, like you said, the energy that he brings, especially in a home game, is palpable. He's just a huge spark plug off the bench, immediately making plays. He was diving on the ground for a loose ball, like right when he got into the game. I do think his defense is a difference maker. I think he was a big reason why they won Game 6 or Game 5 rather, and could be a difference maker in this series.
All right. Well, from one start to another, Semi making his first career start. He held Giannis to 16 points on 10 shots. Kind of absurd when you look at what Giannis has done all season long. Is this a permanent change that they should keep? I mean, yes, right?
Well, I think at least starting out, I do think Brad Stevens should start Semi Ojeleye in Game 6. Obviously, you know, these series are a series of adjustments. So the Bucks are going to make an adjustment in Game 6, and so I would expect some sort of tweak, some sort of you know, ripple in their game. So maybe you see Ojeleye start, and then they bring in Aaron Baines pretty soon, and maybe stick someone else on Giannis, someone like Al Horford or Jaylen Brown, maybe even Jason Tatum. I think, you know, throughout this whole series, it's been kind of a collective effort for them defending Giannis, but Ojeleye proved he was up to the task, at least in Game 5. So I would stick with what works, at least to start.
All right, well, obviously they will go back to the drawing board to try to figure out some adjustments. Game 6 happening Thursday night. Do they get it done on the road, or will this thing come back to the Garden for Game 7?
I think we're going the distance. I think we're going 7 games. I know I did predict Bucks or Celtics in 6 to start the series, but you know, the Bucks have been playing well at home, and they have a lot of guys who play a lot better at home than they do on the road. Guys like Eric Bledsoe, Thon Maker, really feed off the energy of the crowd. Chris Middleton's been excellent in this series. I think Giannis probably will have a bounce-back game, but you know, in the long run, Celtics, you know, home court advantage. As I said, Marcus Smart in the Game 7. I like the Celtics, but I think this is going the distance.
All right, I'll go Game 6.
There you go.
Shake on it.
We'll see who's right.
All right.
It's on. No money on that. Definitely not.
Great stuff from Darren. You can follow along with him on Twitter at Darren_Hartwell. But now it's time to look at some social media, the best of the best from the past week. And the Celtics have been playing hard on the court, but making sure that their presence is still known in the Twitterverse. I love 2018. Let's start with Jaylen Brown. He quote retweeted after Game 4 when the NBA released that the Bucks should have been called for a foul on Brown. The Bucks capitalized on that play, and the Celtics lost the game 104-102. As you can see, Jaylen Brown with the emoji, the guy with the hand on the head. Moving on, Jabari Bird tweeted this. Obviously, he has a famous last name when it comes to the Celtics. He's making us all laugh. He posted this tweet saying, "Chopping it up with Unk." That's obviously Larry Bird. There looks like a nice little FaceTime conversation. I would love to know what went on in that conversation, but very funny nonetheless. And last but not least, let's take a look at Giannis. An interesting Sunday afternoon for him. After hitting the game winner in Game 4, he was spotted at a Mexican restaurant called Bel Air Cantina and wasn't served by the host there after waiting for nearly 10 minutes. So he left. He went on to a pizzeria down the street. He was a good sport later. He tweeted from his girlfriend's account telling Bel Air Cantina, "It's all good. Much love for you guys. Also, thanks to all of the concerned fans. I appreciate your support." Absolutely hilarious. So thanks for tuning in. We will see you next time. Go Celtics, and good night.